Morning. Hello to everyone on Facebook and YouTube and wherever else you might see these recordings. This is actually a live Facebook event, and you can find it on Facebook by becoming a member of the Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness Facebook group. Yay, Mike Jackson's watching. Now, Mike Jackson's got smart because he knows that at this time, at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays, the live is about asking your questions by typing them into the comments on the Facebook page. And then you can get your questions answered. And, sometimes the questions that are the big holdup, right? And us going forward or finding a new direction or being confident about where we're being motivated to go and how we're being motivated to act or to be. This has been the issue for me lately. It's like, it's not about taking action so much as being and like that. Anyway, so I invite you all to write your question in the comments here on Facebook group page, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness, because that's how I can help you. That's how I'll know that you're here. I love it that you're here and that you take a time out of your day to be part of this. And it's very important to me that you're here, that this work serves you. That's the whole point, right? Sorry about that, trying to get some little adjustments made so that things look the way they should, and they might not look the way I like them. Anyway, so Rebecca Donald is here. See, now she's a smart woman. She comes on every now and then and she gets her questions answered. So I think it's a good idea to start everything with a prayer. And okay, the guides are saying, open the records of this group. You can find all of these things in my book, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness. You can buy it on Amazon as a paperback. And I have the audio book recorded on Apple Books or Hobo, Libro FM, Nook audiobooks, audiobooks.com. There are like 8 different places where you can buy the audiobook version of this. And I actually recommend the audiobook because I did the narration and I channeled the guides while I was doing the narration. So you get the energy. This book is filled with spiritual energy and energy that will help you. Oh my golly gee whiz, you are here. I'm just so tickled pink. Okay, they want me to open the records of this group, and you can always find the opening prayer, the Akashic Records opening prayer, in the back of the book on page 320. 350, 360 pages of useful information, actually. All right, here's the opening prayer. By the power of divine light within us, come, Holy Spirit, Spirit of light, Spirit of truth. For the highest good of all throughout time, fill our hearts with divine love as we humbly ask permission to open the divine portal to the highest realm of the Akashic Records for those present. Akashic beings of light, guide those present to the deepest truth of their beings, releasing any blocks and restrictions to our abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist those present to fully embody our soul's light, to fulfill our soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround those present with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct those present to the actions. Clearly direct those present to the perspective and actions that manifest our divine plans. Akashic beings of light, guide those present to the deepest truth of our being, releasing any blocks and resistance to our abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist those present to fully embody our soul's light, to fulfill our soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround those present with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct those present to the perspective and actions to those that manifest our divine plan. Clearly direct our perspective and actions to those that manifest our divine plans. Akashic beings of light, guide those present to the deepest truth of our being, releasing any blocks and resistance to our abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist us to fully embody our soul's light, to fulfill our soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround those present with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct those present perspective and actions to those that manifest our divine plans, free of all resistance, judgment, and fear. We are now filled with divine love, and the records are now open. So that's great. Hello, Stephanie Ansley Miller. I'm just delighted that you all are here. I'm just gonna, can't wait to answer some questions. I'm primed and chomping at the bit. That's what this whole event every week is about. It's designed to help you. So one of the things that has been an issue for myself of late, I think it has to do with, okay, the book, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness, is now up and for sale in paperback and the audiobook. And there are still some typos to fix. I keep discovering them, and a couple of amendments I should make to the text. However, bulk of the project is done, except for selling it. And who knew that it was going to be such work? I still am working on getting this Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness into the indie book publishers' hands and source to all the indie places. And most of the indie bookstores don't want to carry books that have been printed by Amazon, because Amazon's eaten their business alive. So we want to support those indie bookstores and give them as much profit and sales as we possibly can. All right. So I'm looking for who's got a question. Anyway, so the big issue is now, instead of doing, it's more about being. And it's more about inhabiting the energy of the project, of getting this work out and into your hands, and helping you with the information and energy in this book. That's what I'm doing. I still do readings, and I'm still doing actually some shows. I'll be doing live readings at the Soul Search Enlightenment Expo in June 30th. It's a one-day expo on a Sunday here in Marin County at the Embassy Suites, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'll be there, and I'll be giving a talk on my book and the Akashic Records. and how those two things, bringing forth soul consciousness and the Akashic Records, combine to be a powerful place where you can shift the energy, get knowledge, experience greater and greater levels of enlightenment. Right. I'm refreshing the page on the Facebook page because sometimes the questions don't show up as fast on Facebook as they do, as I'd like them to. And yet, life doesn't work on my energy and my schedule. It's about doing. I mean, it's about being more than doing. So here it is again. It's about really enjoying myself and taking time to enjoy this summer and do some trips and getaways and stuff when I'm not on Facebook doing lives. So I'm going to start looking at you all clairvoyantly and see what's going on and if there's anything I'm supposed to say out loud. I don't like to speak out loud about you without your permission. And so I may ask you if it's all right to bring this forth. Both my guides, Anubis, who's been my original guide that since I've been channeling way back in 1988 when I started channeling, and the Akashic beings of light, who did most of the channeling for the book, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness. They are all present here. And one of the reasons I got stumbled on the prayer lines is because I was watching the energy with my eyes closed. And what happened when the line in the prayer says, surround us with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. And there were so many beings, and there are a bunch of them that are so far back that they don't show up even as very faint outlines, or they just show up as like a shadow, one cohesive shadow. And I don't know exactly what that means. I am blessing my uncle Sam Lukens because he passed away last night. And as I watched his little process, I saw him in deep conversation with Jesus Christ, because he's a great believer in the Bible and in Jesus's power to restore and redeem and heal and rejuvenate. And I know that he made peace with his Redeemer. That was very clear. And they had some long, deep talks about this lifetime. He did his life review before he let go of his body, which is kind of unusual, but it makes sense to me given who he was. He was a very friendly, helpful veterinarian, and he was just really known and loved in his community. All right. Now we got some questions. Who was for Stephanie and Ansley Miller? She's talking about worry. Okay, she says, when I worry about some of my loved ones, I get into a negative mindset. I want to release this very old pattern. I want to care and love these dear friends unconditionally if possible. As an empath, I tend to connect with them at where they are, which can be in a dark place, which feels unpleasant to me. I understand that the dark exists and I don't deny it, just not sure what to do when this happens. So first off, expand to include. You're including these. I'm bringing in Anubis for this one. When you expand to include your feelings, the darkness that may be present for these loved ones and people that you know, understand that it has been the darkness that caused many of you to reach up into the light and to take in more light in order to grow and evolve. And it's been the darkness in a way that pushed you up or made you start to feel as if you're being swallowed up, and you will cease to exist if you don't reach for the light even more. And so it's really useful. And there's always the element of, in the Akashic Records, we dignify anybody's choices and path and what they are here to do and the way that they get from point A to B to C to D to Z. However it's done, evolution happens, and it may look really clumsy, ungraceful, terrifying. It may look like they're feeding the darkness, and it's what needs to happen in them for being their soul's emissary here in the world. Because as the human evolves, the soul evolves. As the soul evolves, the human evolves, and so forth and so on. It goes back and forth like this in a never-ending dance. So their path is completely acceptable to their masters, their teachers, and their loved ones. And it may be what helps the greatest number of people. As we know, understanding and compassion for others is often born out of direct experience of tragedy, trauma, depression, anxiety, similar experiences. And this is so that we connect heart to heart with these people, and so that we are of service to these people. And we are compassionate. And you don't have to go into agreement or disagreement. You don't want to say, okay, let me merge with you. Let me just blend with you and lose myself. That's not the point. The point is to be who you are and expand your heart to include all these people who are having their own experiences, doing what they're doing on their growth path. And it may be rather mystifying to you, and it's all right if it is. It might be scary, to see the darkness work, or to see people who are suffering, and it seems easily remediable. It may not be up to us to remedy that. In fact, it usually isn't up to us to remedy that. It's usually up to the individual, if they are ready to do what it takes to start climbing out of the hole that they've dug them for themselves, then there's really nothing that's going to stop them. And if they're not ready, there's not anything you can say to make them ready. And the idea is to know that you have suffered as they are suffering, and you don't have to go into agreement, and you don't have to defend yourself against it, like trying to block it out, stiff arm it, right? You don't have to do that. You can just be. You may even find yourself transmitting heart energy, spiritual heart energy. And that's one of the things I like the most about the spiritual heart. The spiritual heart is part of this book. And it's one of the things my guides taught me as I'm channeling this book. And it's chapter 11 is all about the spiritual heart and how it's constructed and what it does, and the strength and connectivity of that. So as you embody your soul's light and you engage your spiritual heart, there's a largesse of love and acceptance and compassion that comes through and lets you love these people exactly as they are. You know, sometimes the title empath is a little tricky. It can sound a little bit like codependence, right? And it's important. You're right. You want to connect with them where they are. It doesn't mean you have to merge energies. You just have to notice that this is where they are, and you have no agenda. For me, doing readings or helping people, it's really about throwing my ideas out the window and letting go of my agenda, and being here fully and letting my gifts, abilities, and talents be of service to others. Okay. Let's see. All right. Rebecca, why does my new kitten have bouts of being agitated and vocal? This kitten, she's in a reincarnation. It's very different from the last few lives. She spent the last few lives being a roustabout in the wilds, and actually she was this kitten was I see her as a panther and also as a bobcat. And so these are wild, they are hunters, they are explorers, they are independents. So this may be a cat that you're going to put on a leash and walk a little bit, or get her outdoors, or be with her outside. This is probably going to be a cat that you're going to call the fire department to get the cat out of the tree. And she probably can get herself out of the tree if you wait long enough. But don't let your worry get too far ahead of you, and don't let your worry chart the course for others. And that's true for you too, Stephanie Ansley Miller. Don't let your worry chart the course of, or predict the course of events as they transpire. If if somebody is going to die soon, or what seems to be like a little early in your book, then that's going to happen no matter what. So what it is to be in the present moment with this cat, or with this kitten, or with people that you're struggling to understand or to connect with. And some people may not be in a condition to connect at this time. But Rebecca, so your cat, well, she's a talker, and in past lives they called her a singer, that her sounds would travel throughout the forest and throughout the jungle, or the area in which she dwelled, either as a jaguar or as a bobcat. And so she's used to singing out, and she's actually calling her friends to her. She can call the birds, unfortunately, so that she can hunt them. And nature has the way of staying alive. That's just how it is, It doesn't matter what we think of it, or we want to what we want to control. She's going to be a hunter. She's a hunter. Let me just look at this kitten and see if there's anything else she wants you to know. She says she takes in a lot of information kind of in her third eye, or what we would consider a third eye in the physical body. And, that's probably one good place to kind of pet her and soothe her, and quiet this third eye down, because this openness, if too far open, makes her feel agitated and uncertain, and well, they were using the word unkind. So be aware when she's too agitated, she might be tough to pet. So she doesn't bite or scratch you. But giving her that respite or with a little bit of coverage of the third eye so that she can adjust. And the other thing that you can do is make your energy as peaceful and calm as possible. You don't have to share your cat's agitation. You know, you don't have to be that. You can just be kind of curious about it. Oh, look at that. She's having an experience of agitation and she's vocalizing about it. That's all you need to do. Just really kind of be in a state of peace and awareness. You can use the Ranthia to soothe your personal heart energy, calm yourself. You can embody your soul's light so that you get calm and filled with light, and be in that kind of state. So you don't necessarily have to fix it. You know, it's a recognize, acknowledge, and let it go. You know, just she's having an experience that she came here to have. Um, was she taken away from the mother quite early? Because I think some of what she misses is her siblings and her mother. And that might be part of her agitation and her vocalizations. And is that she's wanting to call them to her. Where are my litter mates? Let's see. Stephanie says that lovely to hear all of our guides and loved ones are currently present. Really, it's totally true. I mean, it was a huge batch of beings, and it's just as the depth of the rows of beings just seemed to go on and on and on, you know, like there wasn't any end to it. And so there's a lot of people tuning in to all of you and to all of your progress. Stephanie also says, thank you. That sounds correct to me. I'm so glad. So glad. And you know that it's your love that's trying to be expressed in all this. Oh, Rebecca says he's only been with me 5 days. He had siblings and a mom at the SPCA. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's transitioning. He's adjusting, you know. And so you just provide gentleness. It's like you're accommodating his energy, not necessarily his his upset, you know, like that. Rebecca says, yes, the wild past lives info resonates. Something like that. I mean, I don't usually do pets, but I sure get them easily, especially with you, Rebecca. We've done a lot of pet information for you. But 5 days, that's not much. He's just getting over it. I think maybe even a little warm milk, a little saucer of warm milk might soothe this character. Maybe put in a tiny bit of honey, either that or tuna juice. Juice from the tuna can. I do think this is a cat who is going to need extra protein and extra fats in his diet. Cats need far more fats than, say, dogs, and that's why dogs love to eat cat food. But so you may even find yourself adding, like I always use the oil that the anchovies are cured in. I eat that, or you may find it a little tiny bit of bacon fat is good for this cat, like just a piece, like three quarters of an inch square, something like that, of bacon fat for this cat would be good. It'd be more nutritious in a way, since he's had all those past lives out in the wild. So Stephanie says, any advice regarding my goal for unconditional love for myself to grow? You have to unconditionally love the fact that you're in process, in growing. And you have to unconditionally love the stops and starts and the halts and the rest areas and the pullovers and the I don't fucking think so, pardon my language, but uh to really just be with that. I was up at Batchwick, our cabin up in Napa a couple weekends ago, and I thought I was gonna get a lot of work done or something, or I had kind of an idea of what it was going to feel like being there, but I could not get going on any projects. I just was like, I couldn't focus. I'd be all get distracted, didn't want to, big, didn't want to do that, was strong in me. And so I think, it finally took me like the third day to go, oh, well, that's what's going on. Give myself a break. Stop trying to push or whip myself into doing this, because it was about being, and it was about relaxing and being off duty. And it was hard for me to have unconditional love for myself in that condition. And because I am, from a long line of Minnesota doers, and former Methodist priests and ministers' wives, and that's my ancestry. And they were settlers of this country, and so it meant nothing to them to go in and clear the trees from an area where they're going to have a farmland, get the stumps out, pick up the rocks, move them to the side, and use them to build walls, and peel the logs to build a log cabin. I mean, they were all about the work. And, I always said my family's motto was, you shall work and you shall enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy the work, we'll give you more work until you do enjoy it. like that. Anyway, so I can love all that ancestral push to be functional and productive and working. But I can also acknowledge that I'm the one who was taught to bring in my soul's light and to use that as my MO for beingness and be in that light. And it may not be about doing. At times, it may just be about being in that energy. It's like, and let the energy work on us, right? Because the energy, they were in the Akashic Records, it's energy first, information second. So it's my mind that wants give me some information I can latch on to, right? Instead of give me a state of being that I think I can get comfortable with, but I'm going to resist and struggle. All right. I'm seeing Sierra's here. I'm really appreciating you today, Sierra. Thanks for coming. And let's look at what see now, folks. Do you get how Stephanie is really utilizing this system to ask questions? She just asks questions. It's it's not a big deal. You're not exposing your checking account. You're just asking for information or energy that is satisfies that part that feels unsettled and dissatisfied. So she's good. She's got it, she's figured it out. So, and we're not wrong for having questions. Hey, Tanya or Michael, or Sierra, having questions is just normal. It's what people have. It's what drives us to grow. It's all right to have questions. in the Akashic Records, it's the questions that are the can openers to the energy and the information. So I've had to really come to terms with my questions, and some of the questions are hard, and I haven't gotten a, a way of, I haven't gotten an answer about the biggest question I've asked of late, and it's in this book, is why, how does forgetting my soul's purpose and my mission in this lifetime and rediscovering it over and over and over again as I evolve, how does that help me? What I'm getting right now is, you need repetition, Annie. You have to have things repeated a lot of times before it sinks in, until I will acknowledge it and accept the truth of the fact that I need repetition. And I forget between questioning periods and receiving periods where I'm open to the ancestor. Sierra says, it's great to be here. Thank you. She also says, how do you find a good way to release negative energy? All right, first off, you're under the term negative energy means it's bad and I should get rid of it. I should get it out of here, like put it down the garbage disposer or put it in the compost pile and let it get reabsorbed, or I have to do something about this negative energy. We are surrounded by some pretty weird energies and some pretty weird personalities who are generating a lot of this weird energy. And so oftentimes what I have to do first is not to resist the negative energy, not to like strong arm it or keep it out, not you. I don't want to be in a point of argument or fighting anything or anyone at any time. I can accept this someone else's experience, especially if it's like my partner is having like a cranky period or a frustrating moment. I don't necessarily have to fix him or make it all right for him. If I can help, I try to help. If I can't help, I don't know what to do for you, honey. I'm just gonna have to say something like, you're smart, you'll figure this out. This is not what's going to stop you. You also can expand to include the negative energy around us. You weren't here, Sierra, but earlier on, when I was channeling for Stephanie, the answer about dark energy around is that the dark energy pushes us up towards the light. It's like surfacing out of a deep ocean water, and coming up towards the light. And sometimes we have to experience that opposite, that contrast between light and dark to know that I prefer the light. But the darkness is actually helping me, and the negativity is actually pushing me towards the positivity. So it's not something to resist or fight. It's really something to accept. If I resist it and fight it, I'm just giving it more negative energy. I'm putting out negative energy, trying to battle with the negative energy. And that just increases it. It's like, fighting with your kid about something you said no about. It's just plain no. It's big broken record. It's a no, we're not doing that. No. And then and not be afraid inside myself of the negative energy. I'm being not afraid of it swallowing me up. Even with incredible health conditions, you can find light. You will find that you are being shown the light. You are being given light. You are being fueled by light. And it's working through these experiences that develops compassion, wisdom, acceptance, it's like every time I turn around, I'm having to enlarge my acceptance of my body, my face, my age, like what is it that I'm trying not to look like, right? All those things I'm trying to resist or hold up, like it's really impossible. It's a losing battle, And so I have to just realize that my culture tells me I should look like I'm 26 for the rest of my life. Well, that only works if you die when you're 26, maybe 36 if you held in there pretty long and didn't do much to your skin or something. Anyway, so I understand that I don't have to buy into that cultural conditioning. All right, Tanya finally has a question. My question is mostly about, will I be okay? Vague, I know. I'm running late for work, so if I'm not on here, that's why. Love you, Annie. Oh, all right. Well, you'll hear this answer later. Yes. All right, so I can feel that there are some physical concerns and there's some financial concerns in this question for you, Tanya. And first off, that the fear that you won't be all right, what does that involve? Or is it involve things that you can do something about or things that you can't do anything about? Therefore, you must just plain accept them. Acceptance is oftentimes what sets us free. Like when we stop fighting things, when we put the sword and the shield down and stand there in the light of our own soul, surrounded by the divine, infused with the divine's love, in the lap of the divine, we realize it doesn't matter in this physical experience whether I'm master A, B, or C. It matters that I love myself and other people around me sufficiently, because that's what the gauge is. And the more I love myself, no matter what, the more I become one with the divine, because she is made of love. And that is the glue that holds the universe together. That is the thing that heals physical issues. It's the thing that heals trauma, it's the thing that heals emotional conditions, difficulties. Let me shift a crystal around. So that's what I'm doing out here where you can't see. And shift this crystal from this way to this way. All right. So that's all I'm doing. Now, coming to terms, Tanya, coming to terms with aging, with variable health conditions, vanity. I mean, it's I get it. It's so up for me. And it might be something you and I have a phone conversation about just privately. Good morning, Karen Shine. You're here. And good morning, Timothy, Timothy Marshall Benson. Hi. So, will I be all right? That's like the existential question, right? It's not necessarily vague, but it's a roomy question. It can't hover and control a lot of issues and states of being. Oh, Tanya's still here. Great. So will I be all right? Do you feel unsafe? Do you feel unable to meet a challenge? Do you feel insufficient to the task at hand? And know that this state of being could be temporary, and it's all right if you need a day or two of rest. You don't have to push yourself, take yourself kind of off the schedule or in between activities, take yourself and give yourself a couple of days off. Tanya says, unsure, want to feel like I'm on the right path. Oh, sure. Of course you're on the right path. You're on the path of being Tanya Ostrowski Helbig. There's no other path for you. There's no other way you could do it. You look around and probably you're comparing yourself to some image, whether vague or actual, that you're somehow not quite measuring up to. But remember that the comparison game is a losing game. You will never win at the comparison game. And what we are is equal to one another. Oh, last kid is out of house now. Lots of change. Good, but odd. All right, so you're in an adjustment period. You're in a transition period, just like the cat. The cat's getting used to being away from its litter mates and its mom. And it's you're getting used to being away from your children and not having them as almost as a place to retreat to and resort to. Well, I can at least do something for my kids if I'm not feeling that great, or I'm feeling chancy or out of sorts. You know what? Let yourself feel out of sorts. Like, sit down, invite your feelings to tea, and all right, you can arrange your feelings like a group of school children or young children, like inner children surrounding you and sitting at your feet, and ask who's like really trying to get attention, waving its hands and jumping up and down and trying to get your attention, and what emotion does that inner child represent? And maybe sit that inner child on your lap and calm it, because that's you. It's the part of you that's upset. You can just ease that inner child's feelings in that state of being and ask it what it's trying to get across. Is there a direct message that you need to know? And listen, what do you get? As outlandish an answer you get, as regular an answer, as absolutely uninteresting an answer you get, that's the answer you get. Lots of change, good but odd. There you go. I mean, that's such a great summary. Your contribution today, Tanya, is really useful. The existential question, will I be all right? Am I on the right path? What do I do when I'm in a big period of change? Those are three really great questions, that do kind of drive this echo emptiness open, and yet at the same time look at what you are opening to. Maybe it's a deeper connection with your soul and with the divine. Maybe it's a deeper connection to what you want to do for the patients now that you're not handling the patients that you used to call your kids or your mom. And you might even talk to your mom. Your mom's pretty wise about what did she do during this period. How do you get through this? This is a change. It's a change that happens to all the women who've gone through it. I didn't have kids, so I didn't really go through it. I just go through boyfriends. This one says lasted 12 years. That's good news. And we're still doing good. Ask and get some feedback from other women in the world, what their experience was of this time in life. And maybe some of the men too. They might have some interesting input. You know, if we're curious, men give us a lot of information. Really. All right, folks. It's time for me to close this session now, and we're going to close with the Akashic Records closing prayer. And it goes like this. Thanking the great creatress and her Holy Spirit for love, protection, and healing received this day. Thanking the Akashic beings of light for guidance, and thanking the masters, teachers, and loved ones for wisdom and direction. The divine portal and the Akashic records are now closed. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sierra. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Mike Jackson. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And you know what? Buy my book. I'm going to put the links in below here while we're still online. And you can get the paperback or the audiobook. And it's easily available. And if you want to send me $30, that covers a little shipping. I will sign the inside cover and write you a special note and put the super cool autographed copy sticker on here that you only get if you get it from me. You won't get that from Amazon. I love you bunches. Thank you very much. And those of you on YouTube, please check below. There will be a link for how to buy the book. Appreciate you being here and hearing all of this. It's so important. I hope it's valuable to you.